I'm joined now by Congressman Elijah Cummings, Democrat of Maryland, live with us from the Capitol. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I want to get to the latest charade in the House this afternoon on health care in a moment, but what was your reaction to hearing Mr. Mitt Romney say that he would be better for African Americans than the current president?
That is impossible to believe. And, Martin, I think we are getting an opportunity to see who Mr. Romney is. He was standing in front of an organization that has spent over 100 years trying to make sure that African Americans and minorities have a right to vote. But he's the same candidate running at the head of a party which is doing everything in his power in 30-some states to suppress African Americans' rights to vote. And has said absolutely not one syllable, and he's probably defended it. The other thing that he stood up and did, and we get a chance to know who he is he talked about doing away with the Affordable Care Act. I can guarantee you that just about everybody in that room either knows of somebody or had somebody in their family who has experienced a significant health episode and was harmed because they did not have sufficient health care or they were mistreated in some way from a health care standpoint. And that's the last thing you say to somebody who knows the people who have died as a result of not having proper health care. That says a lot about him, and I don't know what he expected. But when you're talking about life and death, and then you come in and tell people that one of the greatest accomplishments of this president, you're going to take it away from them, that's a major problem.
If I might correct you, sir, just on one point, he did not refer to it as the Affordable Care Act. He referred to it as Obamacare.
Yeah.
However, the House has just voted for the 33rd time to repeal the self-same health care law. It's bound for defeat in the Senate. I just have one question for you, sir. Why must they waste you and your colleagues' time with these pointless exercises? Is it not time for us to move on, to implement this law so that people can benefit from it?
Martin, I agree with you. The American people have already said move on, but basically what they're trying to do is doing the same thing that I accused Romney of. They want to basically do away with any accomplishments of this president. And you know what? They have nothing to replace it with. They're going to tell my constituents to give up the opportunity to have their child on their policy until they're 26 years old. They're going to tell my constituents to give up the opportunity to make sure that pre-existing conditions does not preclude them from getting insurance. And I could go on and on. The fact is that they have nothing to replace it with. And you know what, Martin? You know, the people that I've talked to, many of them in such dire straits, if they don't have the Affordable Care Act, they not only get sick, but many of them, sadly, will die.
And yet, in spite of that, sir, we didn't hear a single word from Mitt Romney as to how he would replace the Affordable Care Act, but I guess that's because he's responsible for its prototype in Massachusetts.
Yeah, you know, we had, in our committee, we had a senator from Massachusetts yesterday to come in and to remind us that it was the Romney Act that was the was the father of the National Act. And he said that 98% of the folks up there in Massachusetts are insured, and they're doing fine. By the way, the unemployment rate there is 6%, not 8.2, so it's not harming employment. And so, I mean, we need to get on with. I've got people in my district, and there are people all over this country that need what this act brings about. They do not want to give up the things they already have. They're already entitled to. We need to get on with it.
Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you, sir, for joining us on a busy day in the House. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Much more ahead, but